somebody to go after. You call JoAnn and she can fill you in on all three of those. So, JoAnn is an integral part of the Life, Liberty, and Property Tour. Whenever we were in the fight with Lance Gooden and with Dr. Stuart Spitzer, we called JoAnn. The Life, Liberty, and Property Tour showed up right in the middle of Lance Gooden's big target. I mean, his base in Henderson County. And we flipped 1,100 votes in Henderson County. 1,100 votes to get him in. When Bob Hall was running against Bob Dewell, the Life, Liberty, and Property Tour stuck their little team right in the middle of Greenville, Texas.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Where Bob Dewell is a doctor. And we went in there. We didn't win Hunt County, but we won. The bottom line is he's gone. And the Life, Liberty, and Property Tour is part of that. Life, Liberty, and Property Tour, we helped Connie Burton. They helped all of us, all across the state of Texas. So we're very proud of JoAnn for being a very integral part of that program. Also, she is the leader of our Tea Party caucus in Austin. She's another one of those that when she walks down the hall, it kind of shakes. So we're happy about that. And also, she is the leader of Tyler Grassroots America, which is just a very fine program. In Tyler, been active for a long time, and I know that the state rep is down there is happy with JoAnn and Grassroots America because they do a super job. JoAnn, if you will come and light them up, I'd sure appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Ray. It's great to see everybody today, and I got one thing to say about all of us who were recognized as leaders. We couldn't do a thing that we do without all of you. Absolutely could not do a thing we do without all of you. And I've been at this a long time. I was counting up the other day. I think I'm rolling over on my 23rd year of being a constitutional conservative activist in Texas. 23 years. And sometimes when I look in the mirror, I'm going, sister, what happened to you? Well, you know what? These high-maintenance elected officials, it's like being pecked to death by a bunch of chickens. Don't you think? I mean, really. You know, they run for office and they tell you that they're conservative. The packaging is conservative. But then, when they think you aren't looking, some of them decide they're going to be big government progressive Republicans. So when Breitbart, Texas, called me and asked me what my New Year's resolution was, didn't have to ponder that long. I said, well, I'm going to do everything I can to help fire as many big government Republicans from office as possible. Now, I think saying that to this group, you understand it, but you know, you go in certain groups and you say that and they look at you like, you know, there's still people drinking the Kool-Aid. They think if there's an R behind the name, that's all we need to know. Well, we know better than that, don't we? I think our team has handed out this sheet. We're going to talk about that in some detail. But I want to make a couple of distinctions here. Lately, I've had several people approach me and say, don't you think the Tea Party needs to maybe rename itself? Call itself a different label? No. Short answer to that is no. Why would we do that? In the state of Texas, in fact, there was an article, and I don't remember what the national publication was, but recently there was a national publication that talked about how Tea Parties across the nation could learn the finger three from the Tea Parties in Texas. We've been blessed to be very successful in making a lot of progress the last 6 going on 7 years. And here's how we know that. Every time the Texas Tribune and UT do one of their polls and they profile voters, not registered voters, but likely voters, it comes back saying that 1/3 of voters self-identify as Democrats. 1/3 self-identify as traditional Republicans. And 1/3 self-identify as liberty-leaning Tea Party. That's limited government Republican. Folks, that is amazing progress. Showing up like that, because guess what? We've done that with virtually no money. I don't know any group that gets a big old fat check from the Koch brothers.
Well, we're looking.
Yeah, Dale says he'll take that check. You know, because we have done it it's been a movement that has come from the ground up, and that provides a sustainability. And I want to congratulate you for what you've done, because over this period of time, what is happening is that the grassroots Tea Party movement is framing the debate. We know that because statewide media, national media, call us to say, what do you think about this? I submit to you that if what we think wasn't important, it would be asked. I'll give you another example. I was invited to be a panelist to discuss immigration on the Texas Public Policy Foundation's immigration panel for their 13th annual policy orientation for the legislature last week. I was seated between two Republicans, one a senator and one a House member. Our state rep couldn't be there, so it was incumbent upon me to present the conservative position on illegal immigration on that panel. Matt Schaefer, Representative Schaefer, and his wife had just had their first child, so Matt couldn't be there. He had a very good excuse for not being there. But I will tell you that both of those officials who are not rated as conservatives by any of the statewide organizations were falling all over themselves to proclaim how much they agree with the Tea Party. Now this was it was a jam-packed room. I mean, it was full of people, and the room was probably about 4 times the size of this room. So they were so eager to first of all acknowledge Senator-elect Hall sitting in the second row. And I'm thinking to myself, my, what a good old-fashioned rear-end kicking in a primary will do to get the attention of some of these big government Republicans. Now, because we believe that people can recover from all manner of bad behavior, we believe in redemption. We believe that these big government Republicans perhaps have read the tea leaves, have been converted and understand how they need to govern this time. I'm certainly hoping that is the case. And we will work with them on a case-by-case basis. But here's the deal. They've been elected to do a job. You know, we call the candidate vetting process a job interview. They are coming to you asking you for a job. And in my private sector career, and when I was a county commissioner, I had this philosophy in mind. You need to hire slow. That means you do a really good job of figuring out if you've got the right person. You hire slow, but you fire fast. Because if you don't fire that bad apple pretty fast, that bad apple can ruin a whole bunch of things that are going to cost you a lot of grief.
Like Gio, he's about to get a pension if we don't unseat him. Can't have that.
You would be correct, Margaret. You'd be absolutely correct.
We need to say
So if you're, let's just say that we have some folks that decide they're going to be all go along and get along, and we're not going to be controversial this session, and you've got somebody who's just been elected, you better not be so married to that individual that you can't fire them. If they come out C-rated, let me tell you, there's no going up from a C conservative rating. If they start out a C, better get rid of them, better fire them fast, because there's no going up from that. Because if the lobbyists have an opportunity to get their hooks into them and spread a little that something cash around, they're gone for good. And they will be voting for big government. So with all this controversy in the media and among establishment Republicans, what is it that the grassroots Tea Party wants? What is it that they want? Well, we want them to start doing the things we've been talking about for probably 20-plus years. About limited government. I'm with Ted Cruz on this. Someday, we're going to get around to doing what we promised the American people we were going to do about limited government. Well, you know what? Someday it's here. Because with an $18 trillion and climbing federal debt picture, with a Congress that appears to be, we hope they recover, but appears to be absolutely fine with saying the lawless actions of the president, we'll just take care of those in 2016. Friend, the rule of law is the only thing that separates the United States as a civilized, orderly society, where the rule of law really means something, and the chaos that's spinning out of control in Europe today. They abandoned the rule of law long ago. They abandoned borders, many of them, long ago. And so now, since the media has been attacked, wow, we must have a problem going on. Well, I submit to you that, everybody is focused on whether or not the First Amendment, whether or not free speech survives. I'm not concerned about free speech being attacked by ISIS. That is a problem. But a more immediate problem is right over there in the pink dome. There's an attack on free speech that is being mounted right now and driven by Republicans, big government Republicans, who really want all of us to just shut up and go away. And so, that's just not going to happen. Some of us are so dug in on this, and we've got so much time invested in it, that there is just no way we're backing down from that.
Amen.
Yeah. And I will tell you that you all have to get ready for, a ton of disappointment. We elect imperfect people to go into a system that is it's like, you turn some of them loose and it's like they are swimming in a tank of sharks. I've already heard from some of our newly elected House members and senators. They said, well, the old lions came to us and said, the best thing for you to do is to just sit down and be quiet. Let's work this session.
Just like Ted, huh?
Excuse me, I don't know any of us who worked our brains out going door to door and spending time and effort to get these people elected for them to go sit in a corner and sit down and shut up. The issue here is the state of Texas needs to be as strong as possible to lead a nation that is looking for answers. There is no reason that Texas shouldn't be the leader in the liberty movement.
Thank you. Amen.
We can't do that if we continue to to spend too much, borrow too much, and rely too much on the federal government. The fact that Texas is 11th in the nation in dependency on the federal government for federal funds to balance our state budget is, yes, it's disgusting, and we need to, we have to have a conversation in state government, and I submit to you in your local government, you need to have a conversation about how and why we spend money. How and why we spend money. Government is supposed to have a very limited role. So therefore, every single piece of legislation that comes to a legislator should be viewed through the lens. Does it grow government? If it grows government, probably something they need to vote against. Because every time government grows, liberty recedes. So now, where are we today? Well, we are today a recognized movement in the state of Texas. The Texas conservative movement is known in the nation. Okay? So how do we responsibly use that power and influence in the halls of the Capitol? You have to continue to let your elected officials hear from you. Those that you've just elected, I submit to you, don't give them 6 weeks to get their sea legs. The minute you hear them say something crazy like, well, I think maybe we could compromise on this. If it's one of those issues that involves a core defining principle, for example, expansion of Medicaid under Obamacare, there will be an effort mounted by Republicans once again to expand Medicaid under Obamacare. There was an article, when I got back from Christmas, I saw all these, I have Google alerts set up on our elected officials, many of them, so I see what they say when they say it, so I know when to hop on that. So when I saw that there had been this meeting where Governor-elect Abbott had allegedly said he was interested in looking at the Utah governor's compromise on expansion of Medicaid, I went, oh, no, I don't think so. So what did I do? I shot off this very strong, very focused, very laser-like, we aren't having any of this, to his policy advisor. And I'm going to tell you right now, we have to do that. With every one of our statewide leaders, they've been in public office long enough to know the difference.
Longer than my son's life.
Between big government programs, a big government approach to solving state problems, and a limited government approach. So they know better. So there's a time to be nice. All of the pre-inaugural interviews that some of us have done, I try to be very nice and very helpful. But at the same time, I said there are certain things that the conservative movement's simply not going to stand for. Another one of them, which I heard about this from that very fine young statesman who's going somewhere, Matt Renaud. Yeah! I was in a meeting with some legislators just before Christmas, and we were talking about legislative priorities. And when I paused, going over my list of squandered opportunities from the last session, Matt looked straight at me and he said, and I'll tell you another thing we got to do, we got to kill this idea of expanding pre-K to 3 and 4-year-olds. We have to kill it. See, and that is an idea that's been floating by Abbott. It's being floated by Abbott's office. I'm going to tell you something right now. That is a statist approach to education.
Yeah, it is.
The next thing you know, they'll be pulling up, the state will be pulling up to the hospital to just take the baby. So now, let's talk about what happened in the last two sessions, and I've told every group of legislators I've sat before, if you're expecting me or any grassroots activists to be less passionate about getting these things done, you're going to be wishing for something that will never be. Because these issues on this piece of paper that we handed out here, these issues are not some kook, right-wing, freako ideas. These are conservative reforms that should have taken place in state government long ago. And when you look at the fact, and see I put up here the little historical record, it's important going forward to know where you've been. And so when I sit in and I talk to legislators, I give them these statistics. In the 82nd Texas legislature in 2011, we had 101 Republican House members out of 150. We didn't get any of this done. In the 83rd, we had 95 out of 150. And this session, we will have 98 GOP House members. So my question is, when is it going to be time to take care of some of these reforms? Now, you will notice on the first line, I am talking about the need to fully protect religious liberty. Religious liberty is under assault in the state of Texas, and we need to stop that. What we saw in Houston is that and in Plano, that is just the very beginning. And the bullies that are trying to push their agenda, there's only one way to take care of that.
And in San Antonio.
Yes, yes indeed. There's only one way to to handle that. First, to pray about it, and then go take them out. Because I'm going to tell you, Charlie Guerin, I'll go ahead and say his name. Charlie Guerin, Mr. Joe Strauss, Lieutenant,
Embarrassment to Tarrant
was
County.
very, very happy to go get in the face of Jonathan Saenz of Texas Values when he killed the Religious Liberty Amendment in committee. He had the temerity to walk out of that committee hearing and get in Jonathan's face and say, "Thank you for giving me an opportunity to kill that." Wow. Now, friends, if we're going to have a conversation about, I don't know, let's say anything, we're going to have a conversation about eminent domain. Or we're going to have a conversation about how we reform textiles. Because we are going to Terry Hall, we are going to get textile reform. Those are important discussions. But when it comes to issues of religious liberty and life and traditional values, there can be no waiting on that.
Amen.
Because what these people are trying to do is unravel the fabric of our culture. And once the fabric of a culture is unraveled and people become demoralized, they do what? They hunker down and they go home and they hide out. Friends, if you go home and you hide out, the special interests that have no interest in constitutional government will take over. Because the chamber of crony capitalism that's alive and well in its influence over in the Capitol, they don't see these issues the way we do. They don't look at issues in terms of limited government and maximum liberty. They look at it, is it going to help me squash competition in my particular industry? Is it going to benefit me? We're in this not because we don't have other things to do. Oh my gosh, if you saw certain parts of my home, you would know that woman is living in a refugee camp. know your call to this. You can't not do it.
Amen.
Now, see, I know Ann knows what I'm talking about, because I'm going to tell you what, the Lord will put it so on you that you cannot sleep at night unless you're doing
Oh,
it.
God, tell me about it.
See, I'm saying, you know what I'm
I was
saying.
walking in the Capitol 3 o'clock this morning,
Yep, that's right.
so I'm angry.
That's right. Well, you know, the thing about it, friends, is that if we are ever hoping to convince our friends who are more, I don't really have friends like this, so I'm kind of talking out of place here. Because my friends are like you. My friends are all you. So I don't know people who care more about watching American Idol than they do about you representing them. And these nitwits that they interview on TV that don't even know the name of the vice president. I mean, I don't spend time with people like that. I really don't.
No use for it.
No. So we have to be focused on making sure that no matter what happens tomorrow, that we're still there, and we're still raising a standard of liberty and righteousness.
And JoAnn, I know you can't go through all of these, but if we don't work on your very last one, American laws,
Yes, ma'am.
we
yes.
are
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
have tariffs, we're going to have
Yes, ma'am.
increased numbers of no-go zones and everything else. We have to really maybe take advantage of what's just happened and really, really push that.
And you're correct about that, Mary, and these are not in any particular order of importance on here, except for I would say number one. I put that number one because, you know, Grassroots America is known as, the bulk of my work has been in policy, it's been in government reform, it's been in the budget. But I put this here because my friends and colleagues that are in the Life, Liberty, and Property Tour with us, like Concerned Women for America of Texas, Miss Ann Hedinger back there, with Texas Right to Life, with Eagle Forum, Jonathan Sines with Texas Values. Michael Quinn Sullivan and I have committed to them. And we've told legislators, if you trash these issues, if you don't take up these issues, and then you pass some modicum tax relief, guess what? You need not be looking for a gold star from us. And see that, I will say one thing, the Life, Liberty, and Property Tour, the uniting of all the major conservative, longtime conservative groups in Texas, scares the daylights out of the moderates over there, and they're going to do everything they can to shut us up. Now let's look at this list. You will note on here, let's see, where do I see it? Okay, under, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth from the bottom, pass campus carry and constitutional carry of firearms.
HB 195, stick.
Matt Rinaldi said, JoAnn, let's call it constitutional carry. And he has some very good reasons for calling it constitutional carry, and so I don't want any of you all to be going, open carry, open carry. I don't want you to go, oh, she's abandoned open carry. No, constitutional carry takes care of that. Okay? All right. So, with the plunge in oil prices, that's another thing to watch for here, because Matt Schaefer just sent me the forecast for oil and gas futures that they used for 2015, for 2016, and 2017. And he asked for them from they gave us 3 different sources. I can tell you that they were all wildly overstated. Because you see, fracking is profitable, becomes unprofitable in most fields at $75 a barrel. In some fields in Texas, at $53 a barrel, fracking is still profitable. But we've got a downturn here that is impacted by a multitude of things, not the least of which is Saudi Arabia's attempt to make sure that they squelch our oil and gas production. And also Saudi Arabia's attempt to put Russia in its place. Because see, for the Russians,